Hey everyone, Eric Freeman, and I want to introduce a film from 1978. It's written by Walter Hill, directed by Walter Hill. It's called The Driver. Now, this is a film right after the movie Hard Times, which Walter Hill directed and wrote. And this movie is about a getaway driver. And the idea came to Walter Hill because his producer, Lawrence Gordon, when they were on the film of Hard Times, Lawrence Gordon said, I'd like to see a film about a getaway driver. And Walter Hill thought that was a good idea, so he started writing it nearly immediately while he was on the set of Hard Times, directing it. And he continued to write it after the movie wrapped. And what he found, though, it was very difficult to get a lead for this movie, this film. They had their eyes set on Steve McQueen, but Steve McQueen just turned him down flat because he already did 2 car movies, and I just didn't want to do another one. Now, they searched and searched, and this took about a year and a half, and they couldn't get any of the major leads in Hollywood to want to do this for some reason or another. So the studio said, look, you need to get a lead, someone bankable, because we're not going to finance this movie unless it's, a movie star. So I don't know how it came to be, but an agent had heard of this script being shopped around, and he had called Walter Hill saying, my client, Ryan O'Neal, would like to meet with you because he'd like to do this movie. And so Walter Hill met with Ryan O'Neal, and they had a long discussion, and Ryan O'Neal really was pushing and said, I'd like to do this movie, and Walter Hill liked him. They got along, and the studio got wind of Ryan O'Neal wanting to do this, and so they bankrolled it. And so that's how the movie was made. Problem is with this movie back in the day when it was released, it had terrible reviews, just terrible. Walter Hill went on to say that he had 6 inches of reviews. He said, I had a stack so thick you could stop a .45 bullet with it, and there was only one good review in the whole stack. And Hill went on to say that that the movie only made money in Japan, and the reason for that was the reviews were all the same. They were all about there was no character development, that we didn't know, the favorite color of each character, or if their mommy or daddy liked them or not, or all this, because this film doesn't have any of that. Very little character development. It just has really good acting and a lot of action scenes, and it's just well written. It's just, we don't know a lot about the lead. The second lead in this is Isabella Adjani, and French actress, first American film, and she does a great job. It's written for her to be to have a poker face, to not say much. She's the perfect antidote to Caldwell. I mean, she is absolutely, quiet and great demeanor. But anyhow, get past that. This is a good film, and it's about a getaway driver, naturally, and that's Ryan O'Neal, and he's known as the cowboy. And there really isn't any character that has a name in this movie other than what Bruce Dern calls them. Bruce Dern is known as the detective, and Ryan O'Neal's known as the cowboy, and Isabella Adjani is the player. And then we have other characters in this movie. One is glasses, one's teeth, one's the connection. So we really don't know their names, just what they are in this film. And the person that has all the dialogue in this film is Bruce Dern. And he's good. He's always good. He plays a very slimy, weaselly kind of guy. Perfect for Bruce Dern. Perfect. In fact, the backstory on casting him is he wasn't the first choice. They wanted Robert Mitchum, big-time movie star in the 40s and 50s and 60s, even up into the 70s. I mean, as big could be, Robert Mitchum. And they offered it to Mitchum. He turned it down flat. And Walter Hill found Bruce Dern, and Bruce Dern wanted it, and that's the way that was. So there was a lot of casting trouble in this movie, but all for the best. Sometimes you get, your second grade players in this, and they do a great job. So this movie, by the way, and you might know of it in 2011, called Drive. Now, Drive starred Ryan Gosling, and damn good movie. Anyone that's seen it would agree. But I would say this about that movie: that soundtrack sucked. That it blew chunks, and there was no way around it. In fact, when I was watching that movie, I said, "Who did this soundtrack? Because it is horrible." And but we don't have that here in this smaller film from 1978. It's got a good soundtrack. It's got a lot of action, got a lot of car chases, a lot of hopped up cars, a lot of cool LA scenery from 1978. And, the roads seem to be slicked on a lot, like you'd see in a Michael Mann film. And Ryan O'Neal, is as handsome, as cool as you could be. And it's a good movie. I don't care what the reviews said back then, because the reviews from today about that movie they all call it a neo-noir classic, a cult classic, and everyone loves this movie now. But back then, I think that Walter Hill was probably ahead of his time. He didn't, get into heavy character development on everyone. He just, action, minimal dialogue, let Bruce Dern handle it as far as the dialogue to keep that balance. But overall, this is a good film. I would search it out, and I know Justin's just going to knock this one out of the park. He hasn't seen it, but he's seen it now. I mean, now if he's going to be on, if I'm on his channel, he's seen it, and I know he's going to like it. So if you have seen it, revisit this movie. And if you haven't, it's a treat. It's a good film. It doesn't have the action of Drive from 2011, and you wouldn't expect it to, but I think overall it's a good film, and it needs to be looked at. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank Justin. And so, he's given me 3 cracks at this, and hopefully I haven't let him down, not yet. But, I'll wait for that day. He'll give me the hook, and but until then, thank you for entertaining me all this, 4 or 5 minutes, I don't know. But watch his film. That's The Driver, 1978, Walter Hill. I'm sure I missed something in this, but overall, good film. And give it a look. Thank you. Take care. Adios.